Hello and welcome to Mad Goes Racing, and today we are back in Mirillis 2 having a look to see what's been updated of late. And currently we are on version 1.0.1.4.1244. Not that you worry about that last bit. And let's have a look at the change log and see what's been added in the latest update. And the two big items are that they have added the Formula V10 Gen 1 glass. What's happened with the old Formula V10, I hear you say? I do hear, yes. Well, they've made that the Gen 2, and this is now the new one, Gen 1. So basically I assume there's a big enough difference between the two that lumping them in one didn't make sense. But I also assume that at some point Risa will be adding a few more cars to various classes, so they're not all one car only. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. Of course, there is the option that at some point in the future they may get licenses for other cars that may fit with the ones they've added that are fictional or close to. Second piece of content is basically what's going to be the first part of the next DLC, which is the Silverstone modern GP layout, and we will have a look at that along with the car shortly. I'm looking forward to that because I haven't actually driven the car yet, so that should be interesting. Watch me make a complete fool of myself, as always. UI and HUD. Championship mode. Added front end standings table. Added race length scaling option. Added progress reset option. Fixed bug ensuring player vehicle respects championship configuration. Known issues season completed not reflected in front end. Fixed we'll have a look at that in a minute. Fixed some situations where championship was incorrectly identified as a career championship. Added vehicle list switch option to vehicle selection page. I'm not sure quite what that means, but we can have a look and see if we can work that one out. Fixed time trial info unit still showing old style in minimal mode. Physics, a reduced tyre speed effects on adhesive friction for all slick tyres. I assume that means as the adhesive part of the tyre is like when it's a bit like glue. It sort of sticks to the road. When it lifts off, it obviously has presumably some frictional component that they have reduced. I assume it's more when it lifts off than when it sticks. Might be both actually. Come to think of it. But they've reduced it for slick tyres anyway. So aero tuning to AGR stock 2020. Reduced engine inertia on all MRX engines. Adjusted front splitter pitch sensitivity for prototypes and GTs. Presumably so that when you raise and lower the front end you get less effect. So when you brake it doesn't shift. Well, either when you adjust the ride height or when you brake or accelerate, it has less effect on moving the aero balance backwards and forwards, presumably. AI removed all artificial AI functions affecting their behaviour in racing situation. Minimises unpredictable reactions. First lap decision making on first lap introduced in version 1.0.1.0 now applies to all race laps, so presumably some of the things they were having to do slightly differently on the first lap now work everywhere. Fixed AI tendency to put wheel on grass on straights for no apparent reason on lap 1. Yeah, that always bugged the crap out of me when cars suddenly decided to go, I'm going to go over here and have a play in the grass. You're thinking, why? Added initial version AI defensive driving logic. Very subtle to minimise potential issues. Apparently they're meant to now, if they think you're going to try and sort of whiz past them, they'll sort of move over to an inside line and do things like that, but not in an overly aggressive way. because the last thing you want is people suddenly shifting themselves around in the braking zones and silly things like that. You shouldn't be doing it. It's very naughty. Move down a bit. Adjusted DRS activation speeds for AI for Sigma P1 and AJR cars equipped with the device. Well, I hope you do it for ones that have only got the DRS, yeah. Minor AI grip tuning for Qashqai and Hockenheim. Improved pit lane merge to main path at Hockenheim GP and National. Tracks, Hockenheim 2020, relaxed high frequency road noise. I can't say I noticed excessive road noise on 2020, but a couple of the classic circuits we were having to go around in the, which one was it? Classic Gen 2s or Gen 3s. And to say there was a lot of noise was my wheels doing this rather a lot. So yeah, like I said, that wasn't on the 2020 version, so that may have been even worse. Track limit rules standardised for all racing sessions, whether single or multiplayer, for better consistency. Preliminary measure before adding the penalty system logic. So they are making changes to the penalty system to add the strikes-based system, so you can set how many times somebody can go off before they get sort of a penalty of some description. So that'll be sorted soon-ish. I can't remember what the timescale they said on that was. Added Formula Classic G3 M1 suspension animation. Fixed Formula Trainer driver hands position in third-person view. Stock car cruise. Fixed chassis visual glitch. Camaro SS corrected mirror position. Art Camaro fixed visual glitch on liveries 3, 4, 98, 99. And the Puma P052 corrected display RPM and speed readings. I think that one, the RPM readout was a mile out. Now, championship wise, it's an improvement, as in it now has race positions, and you still can't scroll all the way down to get to the last round, but I assume there's only 9 rounds. But the big change is this little pair of buttons here that allow you to change race distance, so you can go from 5 minutes all the way up to an hour. And on the second round they go between 5 and whatever the maximum is, so 0 race length, or whatever the minimum is actually 5 minutes, which is like, okay. So that's a slightly strange scaling. So it's scaled from 5 minutes to whatever the maximum is, 0 to 100, so, or appears to be from what I've seen so far. Doesn't have any effect on the qualifying. There is a reset progress button. If you happen to be halfway through and decide, I'll make a right cock up of this, you can hit the reset button. The AI strength is still defined by the single event AI setting. Might also be from the multiplayer, I don't know, but it's definitely from that. And if I just go in, you can see it seems to select a random car when you go in. I don't know if it selects the same one every time or whether it selects a different one every time. Pass. And it should at this point be at the start of a race. Yeah, it is. I did a qualifying session and then left it after the qualifying. You have to go move on to the next session. It'll go to this point in the race and then you can exit from here. So you're in the race session, but you can then back out. So if you run out of time after your qualifying session and think I'll leave the race till tomorrow, you can do that. You can also do it between race 1 and race 2 on a 2 race session. So if you are, for example, in the second round at Londrina, I believe it is, if you're on that one, you can see it's you can't click on it. You can see it's 2 races, so you could actually stop after the first race. And I don't know what happens if you decide, oh, I haven't got a lot of time. I'll have to test this, but I assume you could decide, I haven't got a lot of time today, so I'll do a 5-minute race for, say, the first race on the second round, and then come out after you've finished your race and come in the next day and then adjust the race length. I don't know if you can do that. I don't know, once you've set the race distance, whether you can change it on a per race basis. Something I need to test, something I haven't tried, but an interesting thought. So if you've got plenty of time and you want to do the full race, say you want to do the full 40-minute race, but only for the second race, because the second races, I assume on all of them, I did have a quick play with a gamepad and set them all to 5 minutes and got onto the second round. And the second race you're actually on reverse grid, so you might want to go for a longer race to give yourself more chance to get through the field, maybe, rather than going, oh, I'll turn the AI down to 70. So just a thought. I do that sometimes. Very dangerous. Test day. What are we on? Whatever I last selected. Right. Formula V10 Gen 1. So this is the new one. And the difference between that and the other Gen 2 is what? A lot less power for a start. That's 870 as opposed to 740. I don't know how accurate these numbers are. At the moment, the UI numbers have to be put in by hand rather than being picked up from like physics settings, which is a bizarre thing to do. You'd have thought you'd have set the physics and they would get picked up from the physics things, and it would either compile them automatically and just be able to sort of run through all the cars you got and then just go pick up this number and this number. But no, apparently they put in by hand, so very bizarre. Me being a lazy fuck, I would have done it the other way and just gone, I'll write an extra couple of pieces of code to just read them out of the physics. That way you don't have to, as you add new cars, have to add even more bloody crap. So so the new one is the Gen 1. I'll just make sure I got that right. Yeah, it was Gen 1, wasn't it? So I don't actually go round in the wrong car, because that would be really embarrassing. Yes, it was Gen 1. I didn't think even my memory's that bad. What was I saying? So yeah, we'll go with the what liveries have we got? Not exactly the be all and end all. Ah! For those that don't know what Alpha and Omega are, start and end. Yeah, then not exactly enthralling colour schemes, but I don't know whether these are just a bit placeholder or whether there'll be some updated ones. Again, it would be nice if you could actually change the viewing of the car from inside the showroom. I'm only doing this, oops, sorry, so I can have a drink of coffee. Cold coffee. And just to prove I do have fans, there's one there, look, bloody great thing. Yeah, it's that what round here I've been going, I need a fan, I need a fan, I need a fan. Gets a bit exaggerated though, he waves his arms really quick. Right, that's the car. Select that. Circuit. Silverstone. Right. Now at the moment, it's the modern GP circuit only. This is a work in progress. So don't be surprised if there are things missing, like distance boards. So obviously they're going to have a load more Silverstone circuits. I can't remember which other years they said they were going to have. There's going to be the one that's got bridge corner, which is that really fast one just after you went under a bridge, strangely enough. I remember sitting by in the bleachers for a World Superbike round on a weekend that was ridiculously hot, and by the time I got back on a Monday morning I was peeling not one but 2 layers of skin, and that was extremely painful. The car's also whipped, so it doesn't have any little lights to show you when you're all revved out, so got no idea what this is going to be like, but we will if I can press the right button. Give her a bit of a look round. Just do a press the right button and get rid of this lot. And plenty of stands which look nothing like they do last weekend and this weekend because they're empty. Wrong thing, I pressed the clutch. I'd say in terms of modelling it looks pretty darn good. I don't know if this is based on Scandia DRS zone down the Wellington Street. A few interesting buildings over there. Lots of tents, lots of buses, lots of people stood on little hillsides. Whether or not you can really stand up there, I don't know, but it just give it a little bit of a filling. More stands. I believe this is the... Now is it this building is the BRDC headquarters? Might be that one, might be this one. Next one in the corner. I think that's where the BRDC are. Might be that one actually. But all in all, I have to say it's looking very nice. I think they might have even gone a little bit over the top of the tent city, but quite a big sometimes you think there's maybe a few too many marquees, but it's like everything else, it's balance. You need enough there to make people think, immersion. But if you overdo it, then people sometimes go a bit over the top. So, and I guarantee, whatever you ask, half the people will go, yeah, that's perfect. A load of them will go, no, far too much. So, past the old pit entrance, it's in the old pits that are used for various things. MotoGP use this one, although there is no MotoGP this year at Silverstone because they cancelled it, even though it should have been on at the end of this month. So I'm wondering why they cancelled it. I don't know what that building was over there with a green and white roof, but I presume that's either a marshal's post or a TV stand on the end there. But one thing I did notice is some of the inside edge curbs. I'm sort of comparing it with ACC because I was racing in ACC like for the last 2 weeks at Silverstone, so I did a few laps. I have to say, by comparison, it's pretty damn close. Again, nice changes in tarmac texture here and there. I'm just thinking that little red curve looks more, it's flatter. I think possibly so these little red bits here are less of a hump than they are in ACC, so you might be able to run the curves a bit better. Again, now it looks like it's probably less of a hump, and as I always say, why do this? Why put all this infill on the inside of a curb? All you do is encourage them to go more and more and more over the curb, and then you complain that they're always cutting the corners, and you think, well, can't have it both ways. Again, a load of the infield buildings. There's all sorts of things on the infield at Silverstone. I can't remember who's there, but there's several race teams, manufacturers, all sorts of things in there. Same as there is at Snetterton. It has quite a lot of things in it. I'm not sure what that building over there is. No idea. And again, bit of a tent city there. So I don't know whether they put them there to block something, or just to like, sort of the less is in behind it, the less you have to draw, so it'll keep the frame rates up potentially. But all in all, surprised how uphill this bit is. Oh, they're a bit more lumpy, so don't run those ones over. And there, the wing in all its glory. Now I don't know if they have borrowed the wing from Project Cars as part of their deal with SMS, or whether they've done their own. Now ACC does not have that big red thing on the inside of that corner, I don't think. It's definitely got this one, as Alex Albon will attest to as he get over it the other day. I put my foot on the clutch and the revs have gone up, not surprisingly. Oh, that's actually a blessed relief to get me back in the car and get a completely different note. Yeah, I don't know whether they've actually done their own version of the building or whether they've borrowed one from SMS, but we'll do a slight. We'll see if we can do a couple of regional laps. I must feel like I'm too close to the steering wheel there. Get the wrong button. Ah, move up, move back a bit, back a bit, back a bit, back a bit. Strange that, because sometimes I don't want to be sitting right on top of the damn wheel, and other times I feel like I need to be a mile away from it. At least this way I can see the mirrors. Too much curb. Build up and get some heat in the tyres. It's got slightly less green runoff behind the curb on the exit of Maggotts Beckett's there than the ACC version, so don't run as much curve out of there. And like I said, you can't cut that as much as you can in ACC. Now ACC is presumably taken from a couple of years ago, so say this, the differences are quite subtle, but you will notice there are no brake markers anywhere, so it's guesstimation time. So we'll rev the engine out a bit harder and see where we get to. Reasonably good turning, 165 miles an hour-ish. Back end feels like the aero balance is a little bit too far forward, maybe. And holy crap, do you feel the force feedback reduces in weight quite a horrendous amount actually as you slow down, so it actually goes almost too light at that point. Which might mean I need to play with my settings again. There's no silly wobbles down the straight or anything, so might have been too late on the brakes here. Overall though, I'd say the car feels pretty damn good. Maybe a little bit more turning. No idea what a decent lap time would be. Sound is great. It's really nice progression through from low revs up. So I don't know if you noticed the way it sounded as you probably notice it around here again. That sort of nice little warble sound there as you're going through the revs. Sounds really good. This sort of fluctuation of the revs that's still didn't turn enough. There's another one of these cars that the faster you go, the more sense it makes. So the reason it probably felt a little bit unstable initially was because I wasn't going bloody fast enough. Let's have a quick replay of it. It's really good across curbs, it's really nice on the brakes, good turning. Like I said, it's still it's hard to tell without doing a few more laps. And like I say, that was basically the first time I've driven it with a wheel. I did two laps around here with a gamepad, I think. And it does feel pretty solid. I just like a little bit more wheel weight, possibly at lower speeds. So I'd like the difference between the high and low speeds to be compressed a little bit, maybe. I can't remember what my wheel settings are at the moment, so that might be something I can tune out, but press the button. Yeah. All in all, a really nice addition to the game. So I'm not sure quite when this will come to the release, but hopefully I think they said Silverstone was going to be the end of the month, but I would have to double check that, so you might have to wait a few more weeks. But by then presumably they'll have added a couple more classic versions of the tracks, bridge, then the 67 I think they said, which is basically the very, very fast original layout, but with the chicane at Woodcote, which I think was basically the version that was in Project Cars 1 and 2, or just 2, can't remember, but that one with the rather tricky little chicane at Woodcote. And then I can't remember any total, was it 4 different versions they were going to have? All in all, Silverstone 3D Ages should match up quite nicely with the selection of cars they've got. So that's the most important thing, because there's nothing worse than taking an older style Formula car onto a modern circuit that it really doesn't suit because it wasn't built for that sort of circuit, as much as taking a modern Formula car around an older circuit, which basically is a pointless exercise. I mean, I think they said there was only three braking zones now. Big braking zones at Silverstone for the Formula 1. Was it 3 or was it 2? And I was like, okay. Go around in a slow car and there's like 7 or 8. So in some ways the faster the car and the more downforce it's got, the less you need to brake, because obviously as soon as you lift your foot off the throttle you get 1G of retardation just from the drag. So yeah, a really nice addition. So that's that for now. I don't know when they're going to add more of the Silverstone circuits. I thought they said later in the week, but I might have been imagining things whilst reading. I do that sometimes, but for me, for now, that's the state of AMS2 at the moment, and I'll get back to sweating a bit more, doing something else, because it's getting damn dark and it's going to be even worse tomorrow. And I think Saturday was even hotter. Oh dear, I've got a race. Sweat box time. So, enjoy your racing, and I'll catch you soon. Goodbye.